Kansas City Woodworkers. Size audience here, plus we've got folks at home. Tube line. Stand up. Yes, that we have. Stand up. How are you? Glad you're here with us. Special event happened recently. I don't know if this has got this. Sweet. Charlie is here. See him scalp the woodwork council. So this is a signs signs.
Made 20.
So what's that in?
Get the rate.
They need
So
signs.
now if they she joined.
So I thought it's one of 4 generations members of. See that about Charlie winning that award. Let's see. I don't have anything to report except I went to Florida. I went to brand new. It's only been open about 8 weeks. The American Museum of the Arts and Crafts Movement. And I took tons of pictures of all the Stickley and all the just American arts and crafts furniture down there. So much so that my battery in my phone went dead. So, and if you've seen the newsletter, you'll see that there's a few of the pictures that I took from in there. My wife was, oh, can you make this? Can you make that? Can you make that? I'm like, yeah, I can make that, but do we really need it? Something's going to have to go. So, Calvin, Vice President, you have anything to add? Nothing to add? Secretary, anything to add? Nope. Member at large, Tim Locke, he has some announcements, upcoming elections. Starting early. Blue.
On? Okay. Sorry. It's that time of year again. We need to start thinking about new leadership committee members and new. And according to our bylaws this year, or in 2022, we'll elect membership, communications, training, and safety for leadership positions. Then we'll have 3 board positions open, which would lead to the positions of president, vice president, and member at large. So I'd like to get some member volunteers to search out members who will run for those offices and talk to people that might or might not have an interest. Yes, we've got some, those positions will be filled by the current office holder, and some of them will be replaced by volunteers organization. So please contact me and we'll get the newsletter to put an article out on this also. But I'm a member at large at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. All right, Gary Milkey. He's our treasurer, takes care of all things money.
Through the first 3 quarters, we're doing great. We ought to have about a $30,000 increase in our reserve by the end of the year, so we're fine. We are getting ready to start our budgeting process. So any of you that have suggestions, recommendations of things that you want to see happen next year, this is the time to bring it to the attention of anybody on the leadership committee, and then we can talk about whether it's our budget or not. But by all means, if you've got a suggestion of something that you think the guild needs, something that we can do better, by all means, bring it up and volunteer to do it would also be good.
That's it? All right. I remember when I first became president, like 4 years ago, there's a gentleman that came up to me and says, you know what you ought to do? You ought to do this, this, and this. And I said, great, you're going to chair that committee then, right? Oh, no, I don't want to get involved. Just like, no, you got to get involved, man. So, yeah, if you want to get involved, I mean, and it is true, about 10% of the membership do a lot of the work around here. When you consider the number of shop foremen that we have and the number of officers and directors that we have, that works out about right. We'd like to increase that. We'd like to get to maybe 11%. So, all right, and Chuck Saunders, he has a lot of stuff for sale back there. There's some veneer. What else is for sale? Downdraft table. Say that again. Planer. Oh, and clamps. Planer. Oh, power planer. Very nice. A nailer. So during the break, if you all want to go back there and peruse, open up your pocketbooks, and I'm sure a lot of this stuff will still be, or maybe be here. People can come in and buy it during the week. There was a lot more earlier, they said. Okay. Thanks, Chuck. He's in the mood to deal. All right. Talk turkey. Let's see. Ron Hall with communications. I thought I saw Ron around. Okay. Oh, he is out of town. That's right. He's on vacation with his wife. That's right. Ron wants to remind you that if on Facebook, we're at KCWWG. Also at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild group. There's the signs up there. 1W. No, on Facebook, it's WWG. Yeah. For some reason, people always want to make woodwork 2 words, so. Also on Instagram, we're Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Twitter, we're KCW Guild. YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, so that way you'll be notified of events like this, and also our podcast, Woodwords podcast, that comes out about once a month. And you've got Matt Kenny coming up on a podcast. It should be out. Okay. Okay, it came out on Sunday, so that's a great. He was taught a class here for a week, and Kevin got the opportunity to view him, all the hustle and bustle of the class going on. So, let's see. Oh, speaking of that, Kevin, do you have any words you want to say about recent Woodwords podcasts? And use a microphone if you would. I'm going to make you come up here.
We recently had the former president's roundtable. Incomplete former presidents, but there was myself, Jim Bainey, Mike Jones, Dave Kratz, Wayne Wainwright, and Craig. Did I forget anybody?
I think that was it.
And it's being split up into the 2 sessions where we talk about the
The first episode comes out Sunday, and then the next one will come out the following Sunday. Two Sundays. 2 weeks away. All right.
But the first part is talked about the past of the guild, and then the second session will be headed.
Great. Any other topics coming up for people you're going to interview?
Keenan.
Yeah.
Gonna set to interview him coming up and discuss his article with Popular.
Nice. Got to watch him make that over here in the shop, and I think he spent just as much time photographing as he did actually woodworking. So, but if you've read the article online, it's a great article with lots of great photography in it too. If you've got any ideas for a newsletter article that you would like to write, you could submit it to the newsletter editor at newsletter@kcwg.org, or if you have an idea for a podcast, you can get a hold of Kevin. That's podcast@kcwg.org. Mark Crowley runs our website, and I guess all is going well with that. Our librarian over here, Don Steele's got some magazines for sale. And any topic tonight? Nope. Just come up, make him an offer. We're getting more and more of the magazine on digital archives, so you can go into the computer, print out the stories that you want from there, try to get rid of all the paperwork back there. Frees up some more space. Events with Chris Mccauley. Chris, you want to? I think the blue microphone is still live. All right.
All right, so for the first time in 18 months, we actually have events going on. We just had last week, 2 weeks ago, we did a tour of L&K. If you guys missed that, they are doing it again on their own. They enjoyed it so much with us, they're doing their own. And that's going to be this upcoming Saturday. They are doing a toy drive, so if you bring an unwrapped present, toy drive, they feed you. It was really good food. Mike, you were there. Yeah, you were there. It was some good food. It was a lot of fun getting to see the sawmill working.
Yeah, tell our viewers and listeners what L&K is.
L&K is one of our sponsors that is out in Independence, bandsaw mill. They have lumber there that you can. It's milled and kiln drying, vacuum kiln drying, or you can bring in your own. They'll mill it for you and kiln drying. Larry and Cammy are really good people. They came in and did a presentation January 20. Yeah, they came in and did a presentation here, and they fell in love with the guild, and we fell in love with them, and they became a sponsor very shortly after. So they're gonna check them. Go out and tell Lammy. Chris Kindle Mart. That's coming up in December 4th. 3 to 6. That is gonna be out at the shop. And we're gonna be volunteer to help build toys. They provide all skills to let kids build some toys. And the Christmas coming up in December, we're gonna have our Christmas dinner. Sign-up sheet's gonna be going at very soon. So please register for accurate with meetings being get that accurate price on that. Did you see that sign up? Please, if you're going to meeting or for the Christmas dinner, please sign up for that.
That is something that we encourage you to bring your significant others.
Yes, and rum balls.
And or bourbon balls.
Then for the last one, we're going to do Santa's Workshop. I'm going to hand that over to Mike and that.
Oh, Merry Christmas. We're going to have a Santa's workshop here. What's going to happen is that kids will come in the front door, they get a block of wood, then proceed to 6 different stations that will be set up, run by our woodworkers, and they will process it down to a toy truck, basically carcass, to Dave Kratz for his design. And then they'll go into the hand tool room, they'll get a chance to meet and actually build the toy with Santa Claus, his helpers. They come back out of the hand tool room. The turners are going to be right up here on the edge. They're going to give the child a free top that's been turned. So they get 2 gifts at the same time. Doesn't cost them a thing. Get some flyers. Sure, take one for your family. Take one for somebody else's family. Gives the basic information. And when they come out of the hand tool room, this whole area that we meet in now be set up with your own booth or table to sell your items. The cost of the booth is going to be $5 a day, 2 days. Spend the weekend here. It's going to be $10. Figured it wasn't going to be a big deal for that, but we're actually going to use that money to buy refreshments. When people get here, they'll have some refreshments. But the whole idea is to bring your kids, your grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbors. If you want to bring your wife's kids, that's fine. If you want to bring your girlfriend's kids, that's fine. I would not suggest doing both at the same time. They might know each other. But anyway, be sure to pick up a flyer tonight. There's some back there at the raffle table. I've got some up here at the drill press. Come up and see us and get the information. We do have a sign up made. I finished it this morning, but I have to get our events director to it before it goes live. And I haven't seen him much lately. So, by the way, my events director is my son. So, anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody. We're going to have a great time. I've got a lot of people that have shown some excitement in this, and I think it's going to be wonderful. The Turners in particular are excited about what's going to be going on. They're going to be selling a lot of stuff for their Turners. You had a question? Kids' ages. Basically anyone in elementary school. If they're younger than that, that's fine. They're welcome to come in. A 1 or 2 year old might not understand what's going on to be able to follow. Typically above 4 years. But bring them.
Keep in mind they will meet Santa too. This might be age appropriate. There.
And if they're in middle high, they're welcome to come. They just need to keep their mouths shut when it comes to the younger ones.
Thanks, Mike. Moving along. Let's see. Jim Berard. He sent a report, and he says that the guild is now up to, and this as of today, 873 members. And then renewals for next year will start at next month's meeting. So the 3rd Wednesday of November, begin renewals. If you sign up before, is it January 31st? You get a $5 discount on your membership. So February 28th, I'm not sure. Yeah, but we want to encourage you because after March 31st, you're no longer considered a member. And if you have shop privileges, after March 31st, if you sign up, you're a brand new member. You get to go through safety training again. So don't do that. Let's see. Matt has programs.
Yeah, Daniel, the manager over at Rockler, unfortunately, he had some problems there at the shop, and he had to fill in for one of his workers there tonight. I got the message like yesterday when I got home from working here at the guild. Thank goodness, Anthony. Everybody knows Anthony. Everybody knows he's going to do a great job. And what's nice is that Anthony was willing to volunteer just a few hours practically tonight's meeting. So I really appreciate that. Now, next month's meeting, if it goes the way originally planned, in November is actually going to be another turner. He also turns some beautiful Christmas ornaments. And I saw him at the turners meeting. I said, man, would you do it for the woodworkers too? And he said he would. Now, there's a possibility that I might end up switching out Daniel from Rockler for if Ed Yashchuk wants to switch over to January. But that's kind of risky because with the guy, running the shop, if all of a sudden something happens last minute and he can't make it, I'm going back to finding somebody at the last minute again. So there's a really good chance I'm going to have another turner in November rather than risking, having to go through that kind of stress for everybody, last minute stuff. they never cancel 2 weeks in advance. They always cancel the night before. So that's just the way it is.
Calvin, you might want to bring some tools with you in this meeting.
Anyway, that would be an
Or
option.
maybe Rob Young too. He might
Yeah.
bring some tools.
Oh, I'm sure Ed will be here. I don't have any doubt that Ed will be here next month. Anyway. By the way, if you go to KCWG, you're just as likely to hit Kansas City Weavers Guild, of which I'm also a member. And it's a really good group. We have an outstanding show. The same weekend as our holiday thing here, but it's Friday and Saturday. It's over Old Town, on Johnson Drive. And if you want to see some really good stuff, including woodworking, we have some woodworking stuff out there. We have some excellent woodworkers who participate in that show. And you talk about a good show. We sell maybe $50,000 to $60,000 in 12 hours. That is an outstanding show. You have never seen stuff move so fast. And if you want to see a really well-run show, it's run entirely by the ladies. You don't get in their way. They know what they're doing. But if you want to see an extremely well-run show, come out to Old Town over there on Johnson Drive the Friday and Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's it. Pardon?
Thanks, Matt. Alrighty. Mike Jones is our safety director. He wants to remind new members that the next safety orientation is November 14th from 3 to 5:30. It's here at the Guild. If you are a new member and you want shop privileges and that's your orientation, that's the last one for the year, you must bring your completed answer sheet and your signed waiver with you before you participate in that. Mike Mccauley teaches a Rough to Ready class, which is another method to get your green card, your safety certification. How many people have you gone through Rough to Ready so far this year?
Well, I don't know the exact numbers for the year. I will have those next month. We've got 2 more coming up in what month is this? October. And then we'll probably have 4 or 5 available in November and December. So those signups that go live, usually I try to work with my instructors to get those dates set. We are going to start opening up on Fridays now because Mike said that they're not planning specific videos, so we'll open back up on Fridays again.
Okay, great. Yeah, Rough to Ready is another way for those maybe inexperienced in woodworking use of the tools, or if you're a little rusty on them, get you hands-on training.
One of the things that people seem to enjoy is that we start off literally with a piece of wood straight out of the sawmill, and within about 4 to 5 hours, they walk out with a completed box ready to apply one of your finishes.
Yep. And they have enough wood to make another box.
And they have enough wood to make another box. We use most every piece of equipment in the process so that you learn how to set them up, learn how to turn them on, you learn how to use them. And so far we've had pretty good luck that everybody seems to, when they walk out, they feel confident enough they can go take the basic woodworking class.
Now, there's people I've seen in here, I ask them, did you make a box? And they're like, yes, I made a box. Look at I've done this myself. And I was like, yeah, nice box. And they're thrilled with it. So, but I do encourage them to come back in quickly to make their second box then. Let's see, sponsorship. Dwayne Miller's in the back at the raffle table. Take it over. Yep.
The only thing on the raffle table I want to mention is the Keller Dovedale system does not include the jig. So there's 4 people there that like to take your ticket someplace else. Otherwise, I'd be more than happy to give you the video.
That box was empty.
Yes.
Oh.
I've seen it, but we couldn't find it in the storeroom. So.
But there are other worthy items back there.
There's always worthy items back
Mox
here.
and Vice kit.
And I understand we're going to do the raffle table at the end. Is
That's
that
correct.
Just to let you know. Here.
Yep. Go back and buy some tickets. Training. Norm, you want to come up and talk about what's going on?
So we've been a little busy lately getting some classes together towards the end of the year. So the first one is a 6-board chess class this weekend with Kevin Thomas. It is full, but if it's something that you've been interested in, it's probably not too late to sign up on the wait list. be amazed at, just like Matt, I can get a call the night before and someone says, I can't make it to the class after all. So we find room for people sometimes. Sorry? Okay. So, and this is the 6-board chest that Kevin is going to be teaching how to build. It's put together with nails, right? Yeah, but they're cut nails. It's a traditional chest from what, the 1800s? So, but he does, you know, you don't have to use a handsaw. He will take you and let you use the table saws and things like that. So it's not entirely all done by hand. It's a 2-day class. It's Saturday and Sunday for the class. Thank you. 2.5-day class. All right, Wayne Peterson's. So keep an eye out on the following classes. I don't think they're up yet, but they're coming out soon. So Wayne Peterson will be doing another beginning inlay class on November 6th. Wes Meyer is teaching a toy trucks and train classes. He has one on November 13th coming up and December 4th. Right after Thanksgiving, the training team is going to be doing holiday Quickies classes. So normally we have Thursday nights open here for us to do. So we take the time in December when we don't have a intermediate or a basic woodwork class going on to do a quick project that you can start and finish in 3 hours. So we call them holiday Quickies, and you can come in and just have some fun, make something, and usually they're geared up to make a nice gift for somebody. Put them out. So we have 3 of those coming up. One on December 2nd, it looks like, and then one on, I can't read my own writing here.
December 9th,
9th, thank you.
December 16th.
And December 16th. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. And then Rob Young and Wayne Peterson are on December 18th going to be teaching a great little class on making a Christmas star, which is really an inlay piece. And they're doing 2 classes on the same day. So there'll be a morning class and then an afternoon class to give more people a chance to sign up. You know, that's a good question. I don't have them listed here. It varies. And of course, they're less expensive if you're a Woodworker Plus because you get 20% off. But you'll see the emails coming out that'll describe the cost and more details about the class.
And you do have to have your green card to
Right. You need a green card,
green name badge, rather.
but you do not need to be a sawdust maker. You can, as a general member, you can still come and take the class so long as you have your safety card. Okay, and then the last thing I thought I would share is that there's usually a big run on the beginning and intermediate classes, so people want to know that when they come out. So we will be announcing those sometime in December. We have to see what the calendar schedule is for some other events here, so we can plug in right times for those classes. So look for that email coming out in December for any of the beginning or intermediate classes.
Great. You want to talk about the one next March?
The one next March?
Yeah. Not yet.
Okay, so I wasn't going to, but I will. So we are.
Sorry if I put you on the spot. I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. So
but it's kind of exciting.
We are kind of geared up and in tentative agreement to have Megan Fitzpatrick come out and teach the anarchist toolbox. So she and her business partner Chris Schwarz are pretty known for that project, and they were both editors for Popular Woodworking, and now they're working together outside the magazine world. Sort of. They're actually publishers at Lost Art Press, and so they're putting some great historic and new works out through their press. They're actually making kind of a venue for woodworkers to publish books about what they do and how they get information out. So a lot of good books coming out of that group, a lot of good furniture coming out of that group. So we're excited to have her come visit, and she's excited about coming to visit. She said she had a barbecue dinner here once in the shop floor and was very impressed by it when she was here, and that had to be 6 or 7 years ago. So it's gotten that much more impressive now, that we've grown and improved what we have here. So I think she should be pretty happy. It'll be a great class. Save your pennies because we're flying her out from someplace back from Indiana, I think, and the wood's not, as you know, wood isn't expensive, so it's not going to be one of the lower cost classes. But I think it'll actually beat the price off of any other place you can get that class done here. Do watch our classes, and our goal is to break even on the classes with the students that come in. So we're excited about it.
Very good. Thank you. I'm excited about that too. Alrighty. Let's see. We've got skill builders coming up on the first Saturday of every month from 2 to 4 p.m. There's a quiet shop during these times, even though open shop's open. Be able to use any power tools. But in November, Dave Kratz will be talking about woodworking with dowels, joints, and jigs. December, Tim Locke will do a mortise and tenon joint. And in January, Keenan Orham will do hand-cut dovetails. I always need a brush up on those when I project with dovetails. That's interesting for me. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin wants to remind us that in the for the hand-cut dovetails, the Anarchist tool chest that Megan's going to teach us, it's all hand-cut dovetails in it. There's no machine dovetails. There's no lap joints and nails. No offense to yours, but it is a so if you want to take that class, brush up on your dovetails. Otherwise, you'll fall fully behind.
And January is the second Saturday because the first Saturday is the first.
Oh, that's right. So in January will be the second Saturday of January. Then in February, Chuck Saunders will do portable power tool maintenance and repair. There's a few of us that have some old tools at home that his motor doesn't work anymore. What's going on? They just go collect dust over in the corner. What, Chuck? Oh, he has a fine Craftsman drill here. The cord's still attached to it. All right. Also coming up are the upcoming SIGs, the wood carving SIG. Anybody want to talk about that? Okay, that's the fourth Tuesday of the month from 6 to 9. Still moving forward. And we have all kinds of new tools too. Pyography, power carving, and hand carving. Gary Melke, you want to say anything about the CNC? Or no, Ed Stewart. Come on up. Ed Stewart and Gary Melke both kind of do the C. Gary's telling me it's all Ed now. Okay. But tell us about your trip.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, but last month I went out to a little town south of Provo, Utah, and spent 2 days at the Legacy manufacturing facility and learned a lot. In fact, my brain kind of was hemorrhaging out the ears. We do have the new Legacy CNC, the new Maverick Pro up and running. We are ready to start training on using that operating system. So if you're interested, send an email to cnc@kcwg.org. And either Gary or myself will get back with you and schedule some time, get you going, and get you out. So, any questions?
And the CNC SIG meets on the third Tuesday of the month from 6:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, I had a CNC SIG last night. Unfortunately, about 15-20 minutes before it was scheduled to start, we lost power in the building. So Gary and I will get together and see what we can do about rescheduling that. And there will be an email that will go out to you if it is rescheduled. If not, we'll just put it off until the next Tuesday the third Tuesday of next month. So.
Alrighty. Thanks, Ed. Hand tool SIG. Rob Young, thing coming up in your SIG? Joinery. Not doing dovetails. Rabbits, dados, and grooves, all with hand tools. Now, so a marking knife and a saw, or as complicated as using combination planes, router planes. Yeah, very cool. And so that is the fourth Sunday of each month from 2 to 4 p.m. here at the shop. Power Tool SIG meets the first Sunday of the month. And you know what you're going to do in that one? We're just sanding. That's all they're doing back there. Yeah, and all these SIGs are free too. So if you want to come to those, that way, if you're interested, say in scroll saw, which is the next one, is John Tegler here tonight? Anyway, the scroll saw SIG meets the second Wednesday of the month, either in the library or over in classroom number 2, where the scroll saws are. And that's a great way to come in and get your feet wet on a new technique, whether it's carving or CNC work, hand tools, power tools, or scroll sawing. Our next meeting is, let's see, November 17th. And hopefully by then we'll have a bunch of people signed up for the holiday show here. And also a bunch of people signed up for the Christmas dinner. We're going to take an intermission. No, just keep going. All right. And so we're going to take a few minutes here. And, well, we have one show and tell item, right? No? I thought you had that's Anthony's. What's that? You'd have one show and tell item. Well, Jim Bainey, come on up. This is Mr. Show and Tell for the Guild. Avid spokesman for Harbor Freight.
Okay, these are puzzles that I made out of poplar using the scroll saw. Easy to make once you get skilled enough. But the thing is that with the skill saw and these puzzles, you don't run off the line. You make design changes. The first one I have here is a shark with the frame, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is, I sanded it down a little so that you can help pieces out. The second one I have here is a Prehistoric Dolphin. I got that out of a book that I got last Christmas. It has a whole bunch of different dinosaurs and things like that, and I've made about 3 or 4 of the dinosaurs, and they're really fun to make.
What makes this prehistoric?
Because it is not a dolphin. It is more like a dinosaur, but
No, thank you. I've got a grandson that is a walking encyclopedia of dinosaurs, so I don't need to know them.
and this last one is other koala bear and 2 cubs. It's all of these are made out of poplar, and you can do it. And if you want to try to do this, see what you can do. That I typically am here on every Saturday morning. Starting in November, though, I'm going to become the shop foreman on the first Saturday afternoon and evening, so that you can come there also.
Okay, anybody got any questions about these?
I have a question. How will you finish these?
You can finish them any way you want to. There is no finish on it. There's a couple of reasons why I don't. One is if I paint them, I'll probably paint it the color that somebody doesn't want. Or if I stain them or shellac them or something like that, people won't like it. Also, these will probably end up in kids' mouths more than once. And I feel like the wood would probably be more healthier for them than the paint. You make a whole new puzzle. Well, ask Jim here in a couple of months how you get the extra pieces made. Because since he's from Australia, he's taken this home so that his grandkids can play with it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, the question was if George would be selling them at the holiday event here. And the answer was yes.
Run off with that, George.
Anything else?
Yeah, we got a couple of guests tonight. Raise your hand. The
Ken?
guests tonight, two guys that are guests. So, how much woodworking experience do you have, and do you have a shop? You don't own a radio alarm saw, do you? Good.
But I've always enjoyed the idea of making something, and now that I'm retired and I got nothing but time, I thought I'd check you guys out. First off, the time I saw you guys was at a Makers Fair several years ago down at Union Station. A group of volunteers was helping kids make kits of some kind. And I've done about a lot of volunteering around that time, so that's something I'll keep in mind when the time comes. And in June I retired, so the time has come. So
is your shop in your basement or your garage, or do you
well,
have a separate?
I don't even say I have a shop. I mean, I've got a basement. It's not finished. Some of my stalls are here in the garage, but every time I pull something out to make something, I got to push it back in to get the car back in. So, I mean, it's not a shop per se. That could be maybe a vision I have to downsize or resize or something and have a shop. But I don't know what I'm going to do, so I thought I'd better come get some idea of what I might do.
There's a guy to pay your dues to right there.
In charge. I wouldn't say I was in charge.
Awesome.
I'm not good with numbers, trust me.
Awesome.
Tim Locke, do you want to meet him here?
Well, you want to pass that mic back to the guy in back of you, and let's get an idea of what. So how much?
And what's your name?
I'm Nick. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
And are you? Where do you fall in line in the spectrum of experience?
I'm pretty inexperienced. I've had a garage shop in my house for a little while. Just hand-powered tools. I just bought a table saw from a member through the classified ads. Actually, it's a 30-year-old Craftsman saw, so it's gonna be fun to learn how to use that. And I'm just excited to learn. I'd like to be a woodworker, so that's my goal, is to become skilled in the craft.
Right place. There are some masters around, and they're more than happy to help you out. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. So, is that it? And contrary to the belief, he is not a spokesman for freight company down by the harbor. All right, we're going to take a 8-minute break. I've been told that's how long the safety video that you all are going to watch on the bandsaw. So, is there any refreshments? There's refreshments in the back. So you at home, stop, hop up to the refrigerator real quick, get something to eat and drink. We're going to get some stuff to eat and drink here as you watch the safety video at home, and we'll be back with.
Hello, my name is Rick Chandler, and welcome to another of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild's ongoing series of machine safety videos. Our discussion today will cover your introduction to the safety rules and requirements of the various bandsaws owned by the Guild and how to safely operate these popular pieces of equipment. Keep in mind that this video is meant to cover the safety concerns of this machine and not a complete training program for the use of the bandsaw. When in the shop, please direct any questions about using these or any other machines to the on-duty shop foreman. He or she is there to act as your main resource to help keep you safe and to provide advice and assisting you to successfully complete your project. You should always remember the most important of safety concerns is to wear OSHA-approved safety glasses with side shields at all times while in the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild shops. Your regular glasses are not approved for use when participating in any shop activity while you're at the Guild. When using any of our bandsaws, it is doubtful that the noise level would necessitate hearing protection, but if you feel more comfortable wearing earplugs or earmuffs, by all means do so. One caution on hearing protection though, Guild rules stipulate that any hearing protection may not have the ability to receive any type of broadcast music or podcast. Failure to follow this requirement may result in losing your shop privileges. The bandsaw has a thin blade in the form of a continuous loop. It is useful for cutting curves, resawing, and cutting thick material. Before turning on the bandsaw, make sure that the blade tension lever is in the on position and that the blade tracks with the gullets tracking in the center of the tires when you rotate the wheels by hand. The teeth of the bandsaw blade should be pointing down toward the cutting surface of the saw. The blade should be 1/32 of an inch from the roller bearing guide behind the blade. There are guides both above and below the saw table, and both should be checked for proper adjustment. Side guide bearings or blocks should also be adjusted to 1/32 of an inch away from the sides of the blade and should be behind the teeth on the blade. If you aren't sure what the tolerances are or how to set them, check with the shop foreman, and they can help you the first time you're going through the process. Make sure that the upper and lower wheel guard doors are closed and latched before you turn on the bandsaw. Set the upper guide as low as possible to your workpiece without touching the wood you're going to cut. This guarantees that the blade is completely covered without room for a finger to accidentally slip under the guide. The maximum distance for the guide to be above the stock should not exceed 1/4 of an inch or as low as possible if you need to clear a fence mounted on the bandsaw. Any bystanders should be instructed to remain away from the right-hand area of the saw and not be closer than 24 inches from you while you're operating the saw. It is especially important to keep any bystanders away from the right-hand side of the bandsaw. Broken blades have a tendency to fly out to the right and may cause very serious injury to bystanders standing on the right side of the machine. To power up the bandsaw, ensure that all doors and covers are in place and latched. Then, first turn on the dust collector that attached to your saw, and once the dust collector is on, power up the bandsaw, first making sure that there are no objects touching the mounted blade. Make sure that the equipment has reached full speed before you approach the machine to begin cutting your material. Also remember, the 3-inch rule always applies. That is a 3-inch buffer on all sides of the blade. Your fingers, hands, and other body parts should never be allowed to become closer than 3 inches away from a moving part of the machine. It is also important that you not be wearing jewelry or loose clothing. If you have long hair, be sure that it's tied back so that there's no possibility of coming loose and making contact with any moving part of the machine. Never open any covers of a machine while it is running or starting the machine before any and all covers have been properly secured. Keep your fingers and hands away from the path of the blade. Never use your thumbs to push your workpiece toward the blade, even if you're pushing from many inches away. Hidden voids in your material may suddenly cause the wood to jump forward through the blade at seeming lightning speed, causing serious injury or amputation. When you're cutting small or short stock, use push sticks, feather boards, or other appropriate safety devices to control the workpiece as you make your cut. Do not force a cut. Allow the blade to dictate the rate of cutting. Forcing a cut can and will probably break the blade on the bandsaw. Don't cut stock that is not flat on the bottom without holding it in an appropriate jig. As an example, when cutting cylindrical objects, you should use a V-block as we're demonstrating here. When working with long or cumbersome material, set up a roller stand to support your work as it enters and leaves the saw. It can become impossible to support these materials without the help of some kind of support system. When making cuts with the table at an angle, clamp a block to the table to keep your stock from slipping off. While resawing wood, it is okay to start your cut when standing on the infeed side of the blade, then letting go of your workpiece, circling around the machine to the outfeed side of the table, then pulling your material through the blade. Again, make sure you are drawing the wood through the bandsaw only as fast as the saw is able to handle the cutting the stock. If you're not cutting all the way through your stock, don't back the stock away from the blade without turning the machine off first. Turn the machine off and wait for the blade to come to a complete stop before backing out of a cut. If you're making curve cuts, you should plan your cut to prevent twisting or binding on the blade. Also, plan on where you will need to use push sticks or where it may be necessary to install a fence to keep you and others safe while cutting your stock. Each blade width has a minimum radius that is able to cut. We have charts posted on or near each bandsaw that show the minimum radius that a particular blade width can cut. If the blade does break, shut the machine off and stand clear until everything stops. Once the machine is stopped, unplug the saw from its power source and immediately notify the foreman on duty. They will assist you in changing the blade and getting the machine up and running properly again. You should never stick an object into the blade to stop the machine. Let it stop on its own or use the brake if the saw has one. The bandsaw produces a very fine sawdust, and this is sometimes not all captured by the attached dust collector. Dust depositing on the floor around the machine can cause the floor to become extremely slick and creates a significant fall risk. Pay attention to this and sweep or vacuum the floor when necessary. Don't be responsible for yours or someone else's fall injury. When finished using the machine, turn off the bandsaw and wait for the blade to come to a complete stop. Turn off the dust collector, check inside the machine and vacuum out any dust. Take a few extra moments to clean up the rest of the machine and the floor around where you've been working. This is Rick Chandler for the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Thanks for watching and be safe.
This is not a place that you'll find me very often, behind a lathe. In fact, the last time I was behind a lathe was in 8th grade. The teacher handed me a tool, I don't even know what it was, and he said, make a cove, make a bead, and a fillet in between. Congratulations, you passed turning. I know everything there is to know about turning. But turning is one of those things that, you know, it is woodworking, and it can be real utilitarian, like making knobs for a drawer, making new handles for a chisel. But Anthony Harris, wherever Anthony went, has turned this truly into a unique art form. So we get Anthony up here, and what you gonna be turning tonight, Anthony?
The Christmas ornament.
A Christmas ornament. Yeah, it looks like an acorn. Cool. Well, come on up here into the camera.
Well,
Okay. So we're gonna flip the camera over that way. All right, take it away, Anthony.
Okay. So I brought a bunch of different kinds of Christmas ornaments. This is what I'm going to be making. This is a little house, except so it doesn't. And it's a lid vessel. You're supposed to have light bulbs. This is Osage orange. This is box 10 guy thread on it. These are, they call them icicle. You hollow out the globe. Put pieces in the top and bottom, and then icicle. This is a bell. It's got a dinger in it. And essentially what this is a goblet with the bottom taken. These are pretty common. They're fast. Icicle snowmen. Whenever you put something on your tree, you don't want it to be too heavy. And so, if you're going to stick something on your tree, you want it to be pretty, you want to have some bright color, and you don't want it to be too heavy. It's a real. Sometimes these are called mosquito houses. And they're supposed to have little perches, but I hate turning because a little. This is, I don't know if it's Osage orange. Yeah, I think it's. And so what I'm going to do is turn the bottom of it first. Portion. And I'm going to turn approximately this shape, though I think I may stick a little. Give her on the bottom. Give her, yeah. Not plugged in. This is, there we go. This lathe works better when you hold your tongue on the left. This also has a crack in it. So the first thing I'm going to do here is simply make sure it's running true. Clean it up. I sharpened up a bunch of tools. One of them, Chris, inch it home. So I had shop's tools. I'm going to follow this. I want my tool hit the center of the wood. This is a round nose scraper. And it's done mostly for hollowing inside of. What you do is you bring it right to the center, drill a little hole sideways. Sometimes people use these for other things, like cross-grain work, but they really aren't designed for it. Okay. So, anybody know what second law of wood turning is? It's, take it off, you can't put it back. The third law, cannot make the inside bigger than the outside. And there's a disease that flies in the face of both of those. And the disease is called one more cut. Now, I don't have to sand the inside of this. I'm going to put a... Actually, I probably will put in... I'm getting... It's probably enough. I have to take a lot off the outside. There's a correlation. I make the inside smaller. Can't make the outside smaller than the inside. Now my joint between the roof and this vessel is a mortise, and I'm going to make a really small flat right here at the tip. I'm using a made tool. This is an 1/8 inch thick piece of steel. I've sharpened the side of it, sharpened the square. What I'm going to do is line it up with the bed here, but straight. Make a flat mortise about 1/8 or 3/16. Now I'm going to thin the outside of it. You can use 2 fingers. Tell how thick something is. Fingers have to be same hand. This won't work, right? But this works. Tell how thick it is, usually. If things get real high pitched, that means you're probably too thin. Well, one more actually means a series. Just one more attempt. How's that? Okay, it's getting closer. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room for my duber, whatever that thing. There's no reason to have a lot of wood here. That sound, the higher pitched sound, it's because I'm out on a limb here. The weaker the attachment becomes, get that sound. You can also get a harmonic and a vibration that is associated with it. Cut fast, that means you have your lathe run at a fast speed. Sand slow. It's a pretty small diameter, so slow is the right word. Matter of the situation there. This is 150. I start with 150 on most things. On bowls, I frequently start with 100 or 120. Cross grain, and it's almost impossible not to tear a little bit of the end grain. Grain runs like this, and so when you're cutting this portion of the bowl here, it's possible not to tear some grain. Tear much when spinning. So, sanding creates a lot of friction. And so not only does it damage the wood, it crack, melts the oils and the resins that are in the wood out, and they stick to the sandpaper along with the dust, and it loads up your sandpaper real fast. The friction can also crack the wood. It's Osage orange, and so that chance is excellent.
You say crack the wood, is that because the moisture is coming out of the wood that it's checking?
No, it's heat.
The heat?
Yeah. If your wood is wet, that'll load up your sandpaper even faster. Once the sandpaper's loaded, you're neat. Doesn't it work, but sandpaper got a lot of problems. What you can do, sometimes bowls, people like to turn bowls when they're wet. And if you were to put a trickle of water on your wood as you sanded it, that would work excellent. I've used wax sandpaper before. That acts as a lubricant. Okay. Okay. I'm going to use some bloodwood, I think, for the lid. It's cracked also. I think it's cracked. Bloodwood, also called sateen sometimes, South American. Going to create a tenon. And I'm going to try to undercut the same as before. I'm going to true this. And I'm not going to do any more to the outside until the inside's done. You can make a icicle. I thought this. Same as before. Touch center. Well, because everything else spins around it. Yeah, yeah, but the tool goes there.
The question was, how do you find the center, and everything spins around it?
Yeah.
Is the answer.
This is the same tool I used on this one. Yeah, it's a 1/2-inch round nose scraper.
And is smoke something that is common?
The smoke is because bottom of this is not ground back very radically. And what's happened is, since I'm making a small opening, when this cuts, the bottom also rubs. And that's why you're getting
That generates
heat. Yeah, yeah. And what I'm doing essentially, I'm making the hole as small as I can. It won't be this small later. I'm making it as small as I can because I want, it's a second law. I have to hollow it, I have to waste some of this material, but I don't want to approach my finished size until later. If that happens, change it. Second law, you can only take it off. So this is, I'm just cutting the roof, the inside of the roof, the attic. This is the attic. And I may, well, almost certainly, I'm going to cut it a little bigger inside. But for right now, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to cut this is the, I'm getting ready to make the tenon. And this is a process, this part of it can't go wrong. It has to fit. And so I'm going to start and stop several times. I know it's fun. Using this tool as a scraper. Okay, it's, what I'm going to do is assess this a little so that it will hang down past the.
So have you already got your tenon the right size?
Yeah. So, you know, turning has always been a part of the military. This guy is named Luke. He's a lieutenant. first. Okay, now we got a problem. I didn't bring a tail center. So that means this point has to be really.
Anthony,
Yellow.
how many years have you been turning?
A little over 50. I started when I was 16 or 12. And hang in for a minute. This is why I can't find shit, because there's other stuff in here. This is called a point tool. Got facets. These got kind of famous for a while, and they were selling them, but they were half-inch piece of steel, angles very obtuse, almost 45 degrees. So I made this. It's made out of a piece of steel I got from Enco. Cost me, that guy from Rockland, cost me about $4 or $5 or something. Still not enough. This is a power hacksaw blade, and I think they sell these for about $40. And what I'm trying to do is just keep the angle or diameter of this correct enough if I can push it on further. And so it goes on there just fine, but it stops. See, halfway in. And if I'm going to cut this front part off, but that was done. But yeah. Go. One of the problems with making stuff thin glad somebody so what I'm going to do, back on there, spread it. Out of there. Sticks. While take a little more. So I've managed to make this 10-minute project 20-minute one.
What was the purpose of the sawdust just now, the chips?
The super glue.
Oh, okay, just to get rid of it.
Give it something to soak into so I can cut it off.
Anthony, tonight you're using a jet lathe. Is there a particular lathe that you like one over another?
I don't like little lathes. That's also a thing out of history. You guys know about the song, people don't get little lathe. The thing about a lathe is anything, you can make anything small. I have a lathe at home, made lathe, about 10 feet long, 3-inch diameter. Anything you can grab, big lathe, but you can't turn little, small lathe. But you cannot turn big things up. Well, work myself into it. Started turning between the 7th and 8th grade. In my junior high school in Colorado, I took a woodshop class. It's only a semester long. Let me use any machinery. So I was making a stool out of pommel on it. Goes from square down to round. And they wouldn't let me. It's a lathe. I did it with a rasp. And so that summer, decided I was going. When I made another one of the stools. So what I'm going to do here, I have to use the tail center for a moment.
Know any jokes? Yeah, that's the nice thing about a lot of the modern lathes. They have forward and reverse. Reverse is for when you make a mistake, you can put the wood back on.
Yeah, you put the wood back on. There is open shop Wednesday and Thursday officially from 6 till 9.
This is at the Wood Turners Association, which is just down the hallway here.
I tend to get here about 4, and on Wednesdays we sometimes, stay until whenever. Other people leave at 8, so Saturday. Actual time is from 8 till noon. I usually get here at 11 and stick until. Sometimes they come as early as 7. I'm not certain. It's actually officially. You better get find the people that are there first. And certain someone's going to
be David Alexander.
Usually, yeah. Who? When the donuts run out, that's it, right? We haven't seen donuts since the coronavirus hit, so. We don't have a safety test. We've never lost any fingers. We have shed a little blood. Probably the most dangerous tool, well, I shouldn't say that. The tool that we have had the most difficulty with is the grinder.
All right, I'll go in. Why is that, Anthony?
Why the grinder? I don't know. It's
Does it yank the tool out of people's hands and beat them the head with the handle?
there are two or three problems. One is, you know, if you're grinding something, you're using a jig or not, and it falls off the wheel sideways. Very scary thing. And with a jig, the jig is long enough that it will then jam. The other thing I would say about the grinder is a gouge has this flute, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a slope right here where the flute ends and the round steel starts, and the jig presses down on top of the tool to hold it in place. And if the thing that presses down is on that slope, and then you put it against something that vibrates, it tends to slide out of the jig. And I don't know of any particular solution for it, but it's scary to me. And I think I've probably seen more accidents and near accidents on that single thing. This is the little doober bobber, or whatever I called it, I don't remember. So, slow down when you sand. I have some super glue at the top. Don't want to leave that. This is 150. This is 220. This is the 400. I only use 400 on fairly hard woods. I do a lot of sanding pneumatically. And I don't like to go coarser or finer than 220 on that. Okay. Finally did its thing. Have to give off the end there. Part of why it wasn't tightening, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a very tiny split. A little dross, I don't know what they call that. Okay, so I'm going to make my roof a little deeper. Undercut the roof. I'm going to hollow the inside a little bit more
I see how thick my tenon is, and so I can take this down a little, reduce the weight. Is there any advantage to having longer tools? Well, obviously longer tools give you more leverage. I don't know. I like them. A lot of people think that tools should be no more than they have to be.
Well, I think one of the things I'm noticing is when you're holding that long handled tool, it just becomes an extension of your arm.
Yes.
Because it's resting right up against your forearm.
One thing that happens, a lot of people don't know about, when you say this is a scraper, there's no bevel on the front. The bevel is what protects me from overfeeding, from having catches. That's what a catch is. It's the tool's feeding faster than you can control. Okay, so there's no bevel on this tool. The only thing that keeps it from catching is me. And so what you want to do is make your lever as long as possible, right? And so you got all this long tool handle, and then you got your whole arm, that's all levered, but it's not, because you have this break in your lever. And so if you do this, you've locked it up, and now you do indeed have a lever this long. And so that's the only real change to shorter, longer, things you can do other than putting a longer piece of wood on it that gives you more leverage. Okay, we're going to do some portion of the outside of the roof. Here's something else that's kind of interesting. Modern lathes, hobby lathes, this is a single point of contact here to this tool rest post. And so I was just cutting, and my tool rest was moving. And it's just a really bad design. But what works well is sometimes they put a brass insert in, which is the same shape as the post, and you push it from behind, and so it's a big square or apparently square surface that presses against the rest, and that's very nice. But the only people that do that I know of are Laguna. People ask me what lathe I like. I like the Laguna. There was 5 years ago, maybe, they started coming out with a new set of 16-inch lathe, medium-sized lathes like this. Jet came out with one, Nova came out with one, and Laguna came out with one. The Laguna is actually an 18-inch, but it was the same price, $250 or $2,500 at the time. The Jet is plastic. I really don't like it. The Nova looks like a pretty good lathe. The Laguna is all cast iron, very solid, and I really like it. My understanding is they raised the price a couple $100. I like that. It's a good curve. I like that. It's nice. And I'm not going to cut any more. Well, that's not true. I mean, I'm going to cut more, but I can't help it. But I'm not going to change much.
Go ahead and sand it. red heart, not red heart, bloodwood is a real bad one for bleeding oils and sap. And so if you overheat it when you're sanding, not only will it crack, but it will load up your sandpaper real bad. You guys know what a Chinese obligation is? Save a Chinaman's life and you're responsible for the rest of their life. Well, cut gewgaws, tails, you're responsible for ending them. Okay.
Get ready to catch it, Matt.
What?
Said get ready to catch it, Matt.
Okay. Didn't want to waste any of it. You can make things out of this. You make a little a box, and then you cut a dado in the top of it, inset this, glue it, and then turn over it. You get a little detail. What? Oh yeah, truck, see? Okay, waste block. This is a waste block. And I'm going to jam lid. One of the things about wood turning is you always turn the bottom, give the bottom of your object just as much attention as the top, because wood turners are going to. I think the way that was described to me was you want to show people that you cared, that you've been there. That's why the insides or the bottoms of your objects. Going to be. The last demo I did for the club, I made a chess pawn out of 4 pieces together. And on the, on a pawn, the collar, put a little dado on it. I said, well, let's put a little dado on this so it would sit down on the stem, and everybody snickered. Okay, if I haven't gone too far, we're real close. One of the things that happens, I don't know if you can hear that, once the cut starts, the tool vibrates, and it can feed fast. You can overshoot this pretty easy. I I made a hollow form, or I was making a hollow form today. A hollow form is, in layman's terms, is a vase, right? But for a wood turner, what it is an opening, smaller opening that you go through that's smaller than the internal vessel. And so I used this big pair of calipers. I was checking my wall thickness. And I finished the inside of it. I was actually undercutting the rim so the vessel would go, then would come out. Then you have the hole out. And the big calipers I was using measure that curve, hit on the rim. I was cutting merrily, ended up with it. There's all kinds of, the vicissitudes and hazards of wood turning. There's no substitute, except maybe, except for making a special single-purpose chuck. Like if I always made my mortises the same size, I could build a little jam chuck that could expand or contract a 1/16 of an inch. So if I ever go into business making these, that would be still not. Still lining up on this line this up, I don't know. Line this up with this the bed of the lathe so it runs true. See how deep it is. Okay. Well, it's not quite as tall as this extra piece of wood up. So, well, I have a porch now. Huh. You might know what tung oil is. It doesn't matter. Make a new roof. Now, you stop and think about this. I'm actually pulling it off, right, when I cut like this. And so the hold has to be really good. I actually thought it was pretty good. I better just finish this, don't you? Nope. Okay. It's an embarrassment. Has to use tailstock. That's what I tell everybody. to sand it because it's runt. It's a technical term. All I have to do is put a point on it and we'll be good. Let's see if it still works. Last thing I want to do here is show you how to put the what I've done is created a very, very small indentation. I have a SZ2/0 hook. And I'm going to at the end of it. It's Harbor Freight. There we go. Okay. Now I just cut it off. What I did was created a very ragged end. And a ragged end can be used as a drill bit. Super glue. And this is roof. If I'd finished it, would be a 20-year roof. Remember how easy it was to get off before? And it would have to be glued on. What I like to use as finishes is shellac. And what you do is just spray it on. Just put on lots, make it drip. And leave it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then wipe it as clean as you can. Put it aside for a few hours to make sure it's nice and dry, and buff it. And that shellac acts as a sealant. You've taken it back down to the wood, buff it, you're putting carnauba wax. The problem with waxes is softer woods, they get absorbed. They go away at least. I don't know exactly where they go. But with the shellac underneath, that doesn't happen as fast. Okay. Say.
Anthony,
sir,
you received several awards. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the awards you received?
I have awards? What do I have awards? The best joke telling. I have awards?
Haven't you done best of show several times?
For pipe makers. Never as a wood turner.
So Anthony from YouTube, Dave wants to know, what is the lathe speed when turning and sanding?
When I was sanding, it was close to the speed of the lathe was close between 8 and 900. It's not horribly important. When I was cutting, it was 25 plus, 2500 plus. I don't know what the angle of my tools is. That's always what's next. Angle on the bevel. No, I haven't been. I have arthritis pretty bad now, and the small files and things I can't hang on to. My hand, I drop them after a while, 40 minutes or an hour, and I can't hold them. What? Yeah, it's a drag. Big tools aren't so bad. If I turn bowls, big, heavy, hard-working things, they can sometimes pain me for a day. Like I don't turn bowls 2 days in a row. Want some? Most of the classes we offer are the basics. They are spindle turning, which is what this was. Usually 3 days long. We make 3 objects. We make one of these ornaments. That's the first day. Second day we make a goblet. Third day we make a box or sometimes a vase. Bowl classes are also 3 days. We make 3 bowls. We use green wood, just tree wood, and make a bowl each day. First 2 are normal. Then the third day is a natural edge bowl. This last weekend we did sharpening. A lot of people don't know how to sharpen their tools very well, and it takes a while for them to kind of catch on. You can actually use up a lot of steel learning to do that. Sharpening a lathe chisel is not like a
bench chisel,
right? You're not using a stone. Well, you are using a stone, but you're using an 80 grit stone at 1700 RPM, and you can take steel off pretty fast. Going to do a class on these, I think, within 2 or 3 weeks. We'll do a 2-day one, and so the first day will be this, and I don't know if the second one, we haven't decided. These or something else. And we're trying to get them ready for the Christmas show, right? Get people making things.
So you don't have to be a member of the Turners Association to take classes.
No. I'm sorry? I have nothing to do with it. I think they're $170 for 3 days and $20 for 2 days. I really don't. And so later on, we're going to try some thread chasing class. That'll probably be 2 days. Got to be pretty good at making boxes. What I failed at today, right? Today, this is essentially a box, right? There's a bottom of your box, and and so you should be able to make those fairly comfortably, and you're ready to start some thread. Tenon has to be oversized. And
so the question was, does the tenon need to be oversized to accommodate the threads? The answer is no. Yes. Okay.
I used to make 20, let's see, 1/4 by 20 pan head screws out of African blackwood. Well, you drop those in the shavings, you'll never find. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's I can make one faster than I can. I don't know what else to say.
Any other questions for Anthony tonight? Any questions for our members at home? Well, Anthony, thank you again. I've got one over here. Here, let me bring you the microphone.
It looked like a Nova chuck you're using, is it?
It is a Vicmark. Nova Chuck is kind of the medium grade quality. This is an Australian Vicmark, Australian Chuck. They supposedly, Grizzly has supposedly come out with one that's a copy of this, and it is it's got some ways it's a copy. Sometimes it's got a few places It's not machined as well. The main difference between the Nova and this is a full dovetail jaw, and the Nova has a very, very tiny dovetail at the top and then straight. And this is absolutely superior, that chuck, jaw-wise. I like one-ways. I use one-ways a lot. This is a one-way. This is a one-way Stronghold chuck. One of the primary problems with it is it's got the open back, and so dust gets in it. The other problem with it is the opening and closing mechanism, the way you operate the scroll, can get clumsy, and it can also over time get. I have some chucks at home that are quite difficult. You have to really squeeze and crank down on them to get them. I think that one, which uses closed back Allen wrench. Period. The real key to this one-way chuck thing that makes it good is the jaw. This is a straight jaw, dovetail jaw, flat on top, tails inside and out. This is a straight jaw. They call it a shark tooth, something like that, because it's serrated. And so this is really good for wet. I have a chuck just like this at home. I turn 5-inch diameter. And I actually had a big mark when I started out, and gave it away so I could buy a one-way. Wish I had it back, but that's the way it is. You learn.
Anthony, thank you very much.
You're not going to drop that, are you?
No. Okay. Have to bring this.
Well, I figured since, mine
Chris
was
is going to come up here and maybe do the mugshot. Oh, you got it? Oh.
Okay. Oh. All right. Should I for the camera now? Okay.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right.
What's that?
Yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that concludes the meeting for the online folks. If you all stick around here, we're going to do the raffle here in a few minutes. So next month, the third Wednesday of the month, be sure to sign up on YouTube, get notified, this thing off, get notified, ring the little bell, and you'll get the next notice when a meeting comes up or a Woodworks podcast comes up. So we'll see you next month, third Wednesday of the month. Good night, everyone. Be safe in the shop.
A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. For more information about the Guild, upcoming classes, and events, please visit our website kcwg.org. You can also find us on social media by searching for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. And remember to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications.